What if I told you that right now, there are 4 specific things you're probably doing every day that are silently strangling your lungs, triggering chronic inflammation, and stealing your ability to breathe freely? And what if I also told you that there are 5 simple things you could start doing immediately that would reverse this damage and restore breathing capacity you thought was lost forever? Millions of Americans over 50 are unknowingly suffocating themselves through common daily habits that seem completely harmless, while missing out on 5 powerful practices that could transform their respiratory health within weeks. This isn't about rare exposures or unusual situations. This is about ordinary things most people do without a second thought, things that are actively destroying lung tissue, narrowing airways, and accelerating respiratory decline faster than aging itself. Meanwhile, 5 equally simple practices that take almost no time or effort could stop this damage completely and actually heal your lungs. The tragedy is that most people never learn which habits are killing their breathing and which ones could save it until serious disease has already developed. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 4 warning signs that tell you a habit is damaging your lungs and must be eliminated immediately. Then I'll show you the 5 protective practices that can save your breathing and restore lung function. These aren't theories or guesses. These are scientifically proven factors that determine whether your lungs thrive or fail, backed by respiratory research and observed in populations with exceptional lung health. Your breathing could transform completely in the next few weeks, but only if you know what to stop doing and what to start doing right now. If you're over 50 and your breathing isn't what it used to be, you've probably wondered what you're doing wrong or what you should be doing differently. Maybe you've tried various approaches with disappointing results. Perhaps you've made some healthy changes but still struggle to breathe easily. You might feel frustrated because you're doing what you think is right for your health, yet your lungs continue to decline. The problem is that without knowing the specific warning signs that reveal which habits are damaging your respiratory system, and without understanding which practices actually protect and heal your lungs, you're essentially guessing. Here's what makes this situation so frustrating. Most people receive generic health advice about eating better, exercising more, and avoiding smoking, but they never learn the specific signs that tell them whether their daily habits are helping or hurting their lungs. They don't know how to recognize when something they're doing is triggering respiratory inflammation or when a practice is actually improving their lung function. Meanwhile, their breathing gradually gets worse, and they assume it's just aging when it's actually preventable damage from habits they could change immediately if they only knew what to look for. The good news is that your body gives you clear signals about what's damaging your lungs and what's helping them. There are 4 specific warning signs that appear when you're doing something that's harming your respiratory system. When you know these signs, you can identify the harmful habits and eliminate them. Likewise, there are 5 practices that consistently produce improvements in breathing, energy, and lung function that you can feel and measure. When you know what these practices are and implement them, your lungs respond with remarkable improvements. Thousands of people who learned to recognize these warning signs and implemented the 5 protective practices have experienced transformations that seemed impossible. People who were declining year after year suddenly stabilized and improved. Seniors who struggled with every breath started breathing easily again. Individuals who thought their lung damage was permanent discovered it was actually reversible when they stopped doing the things that were causing it and started doing the things that heal it. Let me explain the 4 warning signs that tell you something you're doing is damaging your lungs and must be stopped immediately. These signs appear quickly when you're exposed to something harmful, and recognizing them gives you the power to identify and eliminate lung-damaging habits before permanent damage occurs. Warning sign number 1 is increased mucus production or throat clearing within hours of doing a particular activity or consuming a particular food. If you notice that you're clearing your throat more, coughing up more mucus, or feeling congestion that develops consistently after certain habits, this is your lungs telling you that whatever you just did triggered inflammation and excessive mucus production. Your airways are reacting to something harmful, and your body is producing extra mucus to try to protect and clear the irritation. Common triggers include certain foods, especially dairy products and sugar, exposure to cleaning chemicals or strong fragrances, spending time in moldy or dusty environments, and even some supplements or medications. Warning sign number 2 is chest tightness or difficulty taking a full breath that develops in connection with specific activities or exposures. If you notice that your chest feels tight or you can't breathe as deeply after doing certain things, this indicates that your airways are constricting in response to an irritant or allergen. This is bronchospasm, a narrowing of your airways that reduces airflow. Common triggers include cold air exposure without proper warm-up, intense exercise without proper breathing technique, exposure to smoke or strong odors, certain foods that trigger sensitivity reactions, and stress or anxiety in particular situations. Warning sign number 3 is persistent cough that starts or worsens in connection with specific habits or environments. If you develop a cough that continues for hours or days after particular exposures, this tells you that your airways have been irritated and inflamed. The cough is your body's attempt to clear the irritation, but if the irritation keeps happening, the cough becomes chronic. Common triggers include sleeping in rooms with poor air quality, using scented products or air fresheners, exposure to pets if you have sensitivities, eating inflammatory foods regularly, and breathing through your mouth instead of your nose during sleep or exercise. Warning sign number 4 is fatigue or reduced stamina that correlates with certain habits or exposures. If you notice that you feel more tired or have less energy after doing particular things, this can indicate that your lung function is being compromised. When your lungs aren't working efficiently due to inflammation or irritation, your whole body gets less oxygen, which manifests as fatigue. Common triggers include poor sleep quality in stuffy rooms, dehydration from not drinking enough water, eating foods that promote inflammation, overexertion without proper breathing, and exposure to environmental toxins. The consequences of ignoring these warning signs and continuing the harmful habits are severe. The inflammation and irritation that trigger these signs don't just go away. They accumulate over time, causing progressive damage to your lung tissues. Your airways become chronically inflamed and narrowed. Mucus production becomes excessive and chronic. Your lung capacity gradually decreases. Eventually, reversible irritation becomes irreversible disease. The tragedy is that this entire progression is preventable if you recognize the warning signs early and eliminate the triggers. Now let me reveal the 5 practices that can save your breathing by protecting your lungs from damage and actively promoting healing and improved function. Protective practice number 1 is eliminating inflammatory foods and eating anti-inflammatory foods instead, particularly in the morning and evening. The foods you eat directly impact inflammation levels throughout your body, including in your airways. High-sugar foods, processed carbohydrates, excessive omega-6 oils from fried and processed foods, and for many people dairy products, all promote inflammation that makes breathing harder. When you eliminate these and instead eat foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon and walnuts, antioxidant-rich berries and leafy greens, anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric and ginger, and clean protein sources, your airways become less inflamed and breathing becomes noticeably easier. Most people notice improvement within just a few days of cleaning up their diet. Protective practice number 2 is creating a clean air sleeping environment by controlling bedroom air quality. You spend a third of your life in your bedroom, and the air quality in that room directly affects your lung health. Remove all sources of artificial fragrance including air fresheners, scented candles, and fragranced laundry products. Wash bedding weekly in fragrance-free detergent to remove dust mites and allergens. Use a HEPA air purifier while you sleep. Keep humidity between 30 and 50%. Open windows for fresh air circulation when outdoor air quality is good. These changes create an environment where your lungs can rest and recover during sleep instead of being constantly irritated. Protective practice number 3 is practicing nasal breathing instead of mouth breathing, especially during sleep and exercise. Your nose is designed to filter, warm, and humidify air before it reaches your lungs. When you breathe through your mouth, you're bypassing these protective functions and exposing your airways to cold, dry, unfiltered air that causes irritation and inflammation. Training yourself to breathe through your nose during the day, using mouth tape or nasal strips at night if needed to ensure nasal breathing during sleep, and learning to maintain nasal breathing even during moderate exercise protects your lungs from constant irritation. This single change often produces dramatic improvements in morning congestion and overall breathing quality. Protective practice number 4 is daily mucus clearance through hydration and specific techniques. Keeping mucus thin and clearing it regularly prevents it from accumulating in your airways, where it causes obstruction and creates an environment for bacterial growth. Drink at least 8 glasses of water spread throughout the day. Use steam inhalation daily, either from a hot shower or a bowl of hot water with a towel over your head. Practice controlled coughing techniques where you take a deep breath, hold briefly, then cough forcefully twice to clear mucus. Do postural drainage by lying in positions that use gravity to help mucus drain from different lung areas. These practices keep your airways clear instead of chronically congested. Protective practice number 5 is strengthening your breathing muscles through specific exercises done consistently. Your diaphragm and intercostal muscles are what power your breathing, and like any muscles, they weaken with disuse but strengthen with proper exercise. Spend 10 minutes twice daily doing diaphragmatic breathing exercises where you consciously breathe deep into your belly. Practice resistance breathing using pursed lips or a special device to make your breathing muscles work harder. Do breath hold exercises where you extend your breath hold time gradually to increase lung capacity. These exercises strengthen the muscles that control breathing, making every breath easier and more efficient. Let me tell you about Catherine, a 64-year-old woman who had been experiencing progressively worse breathing for several years. She would wake up congested every morning, feel tight in her chest throughout the day, cough persistently, and feel exhausted constantly. Her doctor had diagnosed mild asthma and chronic bronchitis and prescribed medications that helped somewhat but didn't solve the problems. Catherine was frustrated because she felt like she was doing everything right, eating relatively healthy, exercising when she could, taking her medications, yet she kept getting worse. Then a respiratory therapist spent time with Catherine, teaching her to recognize the 4 warning signs. Together they tracked when Catherine's symptoms worsened and identified the triggers. Catherine discovered that her morning congestion spiked after eating her usual breakfast of yogurt and granola, a warning sign pointing to dairy sensitivity. Her chest tightness was worst after using her heavily scented cleaning products, another clear warning sign. Her persistent cough was worse on nights she slept with her bedroom window closed in the stuffy room. Her fatigue correlated with days when she didn't drink much water and ate more processed foods. Catherine eliminated the triggers and implemented the 5 protective practices. She stopped eating dairy and switched to anti-inflammatory breakfast foods. She replaced all scented products with fragrance-free alternatives and improved her bedroom air quality. She trained herself to breathe through her nose and started using a small piece of mouth tape at night. She focused on staying hydrated and doing daily steam inhalation and mucus clearance. She practiced breathing exercises twice daily to strengthen her respiratory muscles. Within 2 weeks, Catherine's morning congestion had decreased by at least 70%. Within a month, her persistent cough was gone. Within 6 weeks, her chest tightness had resolved and her energy had improved dramatically. When she returned to her doctor for a follow-up, her lung function tests showed significant improvement. Her doctor was surprised and asked what had changed with her medications. Catherine explained she hadn't changed medications at all, just learned to recognize what was damaging her lungs and what was helping them. She now breathes better at 65 than she did at 60, simply because she knows what to avoid and what to embrace. The key to both recognizing harmful habits and implementing protective practices is paying attention to how your body responds. Your lungs give you constant feedback through the 4 warning signs. When something triggers mucus production, chest tightness, cough, or fatigue, that's harmful and should be eliminated. When something makes breathing easier, reduces congestion, stops cough, or increases energy, that's helpful and should be continued. This simple awareness allows you to customize your approach to your unique triggers and needs rather than following generic advice that might not address your specific situation. Pulmonologists emphasize that individual variability in lung irritants and beneficial practices is significant, which is why learning to recognize your personal warning signs is so important. Research on respiratory triggers shows that while some irritants like smoke affect nearly everyone, many triggers are individual and can only be identified through careful attention to symptom patterns. Studies on anti-inflammatory diets consistently show improvements in lung function and reduced respiratory symptoms when inflammatory foods are eliminated and anti-inflammatory foods are emphasized. The scientific literature on nasal breathing versus mouth breathing clearly demonstrates that nasal breathing provides superior air filtration, humidification, and temperature regulation, all of which protect lung tissues from irritation. Research on indoor air quality shows that bedroom air quality directly correlates with respiratory health markers and that simple interventions like air purifiers and fragrance elimination produce measurable benefits. Studies on respiratory muscle training document significant improvements in lung function and exercise capacity when breathing muscles are strengthened through consistent exercise. Respiratory therapists who work closely with patients report that those who learn to identify their personal triggers and eliminate them while implementing protective practices have far better outcomes than those who only take medications without addressing lifestyle factors. The insider knowledge is that medications can manage symptoms but can't prevent the ongoing damage from continued exposure to triggers or the ongoing decline from lack of protective practices. Here's something that will change how you think about lung health. Research comparing people with similar genetic risk factors for lung disease has found that environmental and lifestyle factors, particularly the presence or absence of these protective practices, explain most of the difference between who develops disease and who maintains healthy lungs. Your genes load the gun, but your daily habits pull the trigger or keep you safe. The revelation that surprises many people is how quickly lungs respond when triggers are removed and protective practices are implemented. Inflammatory changes can reverse within days. Mucus production normalizes within weeks. Lung function can improve measurably within months. Your lungs are constantly trying to heal themselves, and when you stop damaging them and start supporting them, the healing happens faster than most people expect. When you learn to recognize warning signs and eliminate triggers while implementing protective practices, the psychological benefits are profound. You feel empowered because you understand what's happening in your body and can control it through your choices. You feel relief because symptoms that were mysterious and frightening now make sense and have solutions. You feel optimistic because you're experiencing improvement rather than decline. People who successfully make these changes describe feeling like they've taken back control of their health from a medical system that was only offering symptom management. They feel capable and confident because the practices that help their lungs are things they can do themselves without dependence on medications or doctors. The transformation in quality of life when breathing becomes easy again affects everything from physical activity to social engagement to emotional well-being. We've covered the 4 warning signs that tell you something is damaging your lungs and must be eliminated. Increased mucus production or throat clearing indicating inflammatory triggers. Chest tightness or difficulty breathing deeply showing airway constriction. Persistent cough revealing chronic irritation. Fatigue or reduced stamina reflecting compromised lung function. We've revealed the 5 protective practices that can save your breathing. Eliminating inflammatory foods and eating anti-inflammatory foods instead. Creating clean air sleeping environments. Practicing nasal breathing instead of mouth breathing. Daily mucus clearance through hydration and techniques. Strengthening breathing muscles through consistent exercises. The question isn't whether these signs and practices are valid. Research and countless success stories prove they are. The question is whether you're going to start paying attention to your warning signs today and implementing the protective practices immediately, or whether you're going to continue on the path toward progressive respiratory decline. Here's what you need to do starting right now. For the next week, pay close attention to the 4 warning signs and notice what triggers them. Keep a simple journal noting when you experience mucus production, chest tightness, cough, or unusual fatigue, and what you did or ate before these symptoms appeared. This will reveal your personal triggers. Simultaneously, start implementing the 5 protective practices one at a time. Most people notice improvements within days when they eliminate their triggers and support their lungs properly. Your lungs are giving you feedback constantly through these warning signs. They're also ready to respond positively to protective practices. The choice between progressive decline and improved function is entirely in your hands, but you must make it now while intervention can still make a complete difference. Listen to your lungs, recognize the warnings, eliminate the triggers, embrace the protective practices. Your breathing transformation starts today with your very next conscious choice about what to avoid and what to embrace.